Hey. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Dirt Diamond Sports Talk. As always, I'm Ryan here with my man, Wally. I don't actually know which side you're on. I think you're on that side.
And it is
before we get started,
dark.
it is Dirt Diamond Sports.
We've got a different standard than they do on Space City Home Network. Normally, it has to be after midnight before it's Astros After Dark. It's after 10:30. It's 10. We're old. It's Astros.
Yeah, it's after dark.
It's Dirt Diamond Sports Talk After Dark. Thanks everybody for joining in. And when you see that subscribe button, go ahead and subscribe. We've got some exciting news we're going to be announcing in the next couple of days, and it's going to help us reach more people and get more Dirt Diamond Sports Talk out to not just here, but the rest of the country.
Yeah, absolutely. Pretty pumped about that. So if you're live with us, thanks for being here. We're live on X and YouTube. If you're listening to a recording of this, hop in and set a notification so that you can see us live and join us for an After Dark episode. So tonight, let's catch up a little bit on a team that looked dead in the water after this brutal sweep by the Orioles. Suddenly, tonight, behind Ronel Blanco's return, looked a little bit alive again. Pena's back, grand slam, another monster night from Jordan, shocker. But this Astros team really now, and this is kind of going to be the meat of the show tonight, is really in the most uncomfortable trade deadline position possible. They're too flawed to go in full buy, blind buy mode. Too talented to simply sell, and because everything is still so close, not just in the AOS but in the American League period, it really complicates the whole thing for this team, even though they don't sound like they're confused or that they're complicating it because of all the chatter coming from Dana Brown, I guess, specifically. This team sounds like they're really, really interested in buying. And there's even some fairly big name talking heads out there that think the Astros are going to go all in and try to make some pretty monster moves. We feel like maybe there's a few other options that this team could do that wouldn't sell the farm and handcuff this team for the next few years. We'll get into that. First, let's chat about this ugly Orioles series that we really just kind of simply want to get out of the way. Wally, this was a brutal series. The Astros scored 6 runs in 3 games. The Orioles scored 12. This was a series that the Astros out-hit the Orioles by 8 hits and were 4 for 27 with runners in scoring position. They left 28 on base getting swept. A weird series, man. They didn't just lose it because they didn't have traffic. Unfortunately, it seems though they lost their ability to do something that we had been bragging on them about over the course of that little run that they made on, which was situational hitting.
Yeah, well, the whole series was very sloppy. We were at the game on Sunday, and things that you really can't see on TV, like Hunter Brown was not holding guys on at all. When Pete Alonso steals second base and the throw's not even close, that tells you what you need to know. The whole series was if you want to package it in one phrase, it's a total lack of execution. 4 for 27 with runners in scoring position. They scored 0 runs with 2 outs.
And that had been their recipe there while they were actually playing well. Their recipe was 2 outs.
Yeah, some of the peripherals looked okay. You had 4.5 pitches per at bat. Usually, you're going to get the you're going to get the pitcher to make a mistake. The more pitches you see, they They picked up 4 walks or 12 walks in the series, so you got 4 walks a game. The only home run that you got was Altuve's on Sunday. Um, but the team, the game on Sunday that we attended was depressing. A team that was going through the motions. It looked like it was the kind of game, quite frankly, that gets managers fired. When you've
Hmm.
got a team, when you've got a team that people are questioning their execution, questioning whether they're getting the most out of their talent, uh, then that's the kind of game people will point to and say maybe we need a different voice in front. I don't tend to believe as far as the record goes. At the beginning of the year, I said it was 82-80, and I thought I was being generous. This is about the team that I thought we were going to have because that much talent. Um, the starting pitching, surprisingly enough, outside of Brown, was good. Lambert was real good on Friday night. Arrighetti was fine, but it was more of a game that we saw Arrighetti throw earlier in the season. 5 innings, 1 hit, 4 walks. I think he hit 2 or 3 guys. I think he hit at least 2 guys, and struck out 6. 85 pitches, 45 strikes. Barely over 50%. It's a recipe for a short start, and that's what he got in the bullpen. Couldn't quite hold it, but he again, the starting staff put a lot of pressure on the bullpen.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those series where you didn't get you didn't get a lot of deep enough starts. Hunter Brown, 4 2/3, giving up 4 runs, 6 walks, 92 pitches in 4 2/3. These guys were throwing a lot of pitches. I just think that, I mean, looking at Hunter Brown's, this stuff was still there. The guy had 13 whiffs on 29 swings. He had the stuff to miss bats, but the command was missing the strike zone. He only threw 47 strikes out of the 92 pitches, so that's
Yeah,
barely above
I was
51%.
I can't remember if it was Baseball Savant or one of the other sites, but I was looking at the scatter chart for all his pitches. He
Yeah, I
had a
think
lot of pitches.
you text me a
I
copy of
did
that.
text you
Yeah.
that. He had a lot of he had the thing about him in this game was these pitches were not even competitive.
Hmm.
If you're missing close and you get in a big situation, it's not that uncommon to see a batter try to get that big hit and swing at a pitch that he shouldn't swing at. Brown wasn't giving him anything to even guess at.
Yeah.
Um, this comes back to the Hunter Brown that we've been talking about. You and I've been talking about for a year and a half now. Question we have is his shoulder really right yet? Is he
Yep.
still working it into shape? You give him maybe a pass on that. Uh, but at some point in time, if this keeps on going the end of this year and then into next year, if he's still here, have to resign yourself to that's what he is.
Yeah.
He's great. He's kind of a junior Lance McCullers that throws harder.
Yeah.
He's a stuff guy.
Yep.
He's a stuff guy, and if he's got his stuff and he can get it close, you're not gonna hit him. But if he's not close, you just wait on him and either get a walk or wait till he makes a mistake.
Yep. McCullers throwing bullets in relief tonight for Milwaukee. By the way, I don't know if you caught up on any of that.
How's he doing?
Yeah, I think he went 1, 2, 3, and with no hits, no walks. And I don't know how long he actually. I just saw some highlights, but in relief tonight. Yep.
Relief might be relief
Brian.
might be a good place for Lance.
Well, how many of us here in Houston said that for the last 3 years? That
Yeah,
let's give Lance I mean, let's give Lance a bullpen role that can still make him a hero. I mean, this team has needed a good long middle relief, high leverage guy for a while. Um,
I think that problem was Lance.
Yeah, well, I don't disagree with that.
Lance went 3 innings. Oh, I'm going to tell you, he went 3 innings, gave up 4 strikeouts, 50 pitches, 29 strikes. Kind of
Okay.
what we see from Lance.
Yeah, not too bad. Maybe what the highlight I saw was just the 1 inning. I'm not sure.
He went 4 innings tonight.
Oh, he went 4 innings?
Went 4 innings, 65
Oh, okay.
pitches.
Okay. All right. Well, go Lance. Hey.
Well, Lance didn't
Brian,
get the win.
Brian,
Yoho
okay.
got the win.
Okay. Brian King
Yo,
went from trusted bridge guy to AAA in the course of a week.
yeah. What'd you think about that move?
Well, I mean, obviously it's a recalibration move. I don't think that this is something that they're going to be, you know, really thinking that he's going to spend a whole lot of time down there. I
Yeah,
mean,
Joey Loperfido thought so too.
yeah, well, that's true. That's true. I've not dug into King's stuff enough, really, I guess, to see if there's anything glaring to me that he was really doing. But he's just throwing beach balls. I mean, it's just homer
Yeah.
after homer.
Did you see that? Did you see the game last Friday night? The one he gave up that home run to
Yeah.
Taylor Ward. I mean, it's like,
Yep. Yep.
I mean, it just a little rolling curveball right in the middle of the plate. And
Just calculate. You
know,
see it come out of his hand, and you think before the bat's even swung that if the bat hits it, it's gone. It's
yeah. The only thing if I was Taylor Ward that I'd be disappointed at is I didn't put it on the train tracks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because if you talk about a hit me breaking ball. And then I don't know where the one was yesterday that he threw to Mayo because we were being at the game, we couldn't really pick it up as well. But
yeah,
it was really loud.
Yeah, no, it's we've gone from the bullpen being the saving grace of this team to now it's looking like it needs some help too. We were chatting back and forth and texting at the end of this game about Hader, so this is Hader's second not good outing.
Yeah. Really loud contact.
Yeah.
Abreu did what we saw Abreu do last year. He'd make you as nervous as you can be just watching him, and he somehow generally finds a way out of it.
Mm-hmm.
The thing with Abreu in last year, he would, he was just walking guys and needed a batter or two to find the strike zone, he's fine. Where you worry about Hader or Abreu, if he gets hit, gets hit coming in early on, you got to get him. But he did well tonight. Jordan hit a bomb.
Jeez. What else is new?
De Los Santos and Okert did fine.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice to see the Astros scored more runs tonight than they did in the whole series.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I mean, tonight happened, and it's this is why the deadline conversation is so messy. After a sweep, you want to sell the furniture, right? And then nights like tonight against a decent team like Miami, who has, this is a team that's been playing well. It at least up until their last,
they've lost 7
games or whatever.
Yeah,
7 in a row.
Yeah, they lost 7 in a row. So
there for a while, they were breathing down Philly's neck.
Yeah, we used to say, then they put mirrors in their locker room and they said, "Hey, we're the Marlins."
Yeah,
they realized who they really were.
Still understand that. Yeah, I mean, it's the it's the Marlins. Yeah, Pena coming back with his grand slam. Taylor Trammell, however you want to pronounce his name, driving in a run. Jordan doing his same thing. This is where I start questioning whether this team actually does have it. You have Pena's return. it matters immediately. Being back in the lineup, um, it just reminds me how different this team looks when that kid is in here. It gives you better top of the order balance. You've got speed now back on the bases. You've got his defense back. He's a contact hitter. Um, he sets the table for Jordan. I think Pena's not just another bat. He changes the whole chemistry
No
and
question.
geometry of the way that this team is put together. And it's just you got to keep him healthy, and
But the
you've got to do something else around him and these guys if this is a team that's deciding that they're going to want to go out and win.
Yeah, and the thing with the Astros, when you see how what happens when Alvarez and what Pena and Paredes all hit well, and Jose had a hit today, he had a couple of hits on Sunday. That's four guys at the top, and Walt to get himself back on. You and I texted. He's in between. He's in.
Mm-hmm.
He's behind the fastball and ahead of the curveball.
Mm-hmm.
The If they could get those five guys, that it would have you'd have a chance, and you could go out and get two or three other guys, and with Yiner, and hopefully Cam comes back around, you could have a decent lineup. But as it is right now, you've got Pena, Alvarez, uh, Paredes, Altuve, who's been hitting better. Lamont Wade, you and I call him Lamont Waste. And we didn't understand why he did the deal to start off with. And, his redeeming value is with when Walker when Walker gets hurt or needs a
Yep.
break,
Yep.
he's pretty good. He's a good field and first baseman. But
Mm-hmm.
his average right now, you can see why the Giants cut him last year and the White Sox cut him.
Mm-hmm.
He's hitting 195 with the Astros,
Yeah.
and that's when he was starting off hitting about had a pretty nice start.
Mm-hmm. Which really
Um,
sucks, man, because his 23 and 24 were, man, he looked like such a promising player.
yeah, he just fell off 24, 25. He fell off the table.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then when you look at the rest of the lineup tonight, Trammell is being correctly played as a fourth outfielder, because that's what he
Mm-hmm.
is. He's a good
Yep.
fourth outfielder. DeZenzo, they're going to have to make a decision on DeZenzo. They're giving Cam a break. Cam has won for his last 24, something like that. Outside of that home run against the Rangers, he hadn't done anything. And,
Yep.
Lucas Spence has been up for 4 games. So,
Yep.
he's
And
hitting
he's what?
214.
3 for 6. Yeah.
He's hitting 214. He does seem to have a pretty good eye.
Yeah. He can run him down out there in center field too.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So the big question for the Astros is what happens next.
Yeah.
You've got. I did a list, and we talked about Pena last time, and the more I look at it, if Brian Cashman wanted to play Let's Make a Dirt Diamond Sports Talk deal, that trade we talked about, is I don't know if the Astros would do it, but the one when you include some of their top prospects plus Volpe as a stop, or Caballero as a stopgap, I don't think they'd trade Caballero. They'd make us take Volpe.
Mm-hmm.
You look at who's out there that the Astros might get some interest. You'd think Walker has interest, but all the metrics say he really has no values.
Yep.
His contract, eat half of his contract and you might get a friend.
Yep.
I think Abreu, if he can keep it up for the next couple of weeks, someone would take an Abreu.
Mm-hmm.
I think Steven Okert he won't get a ton, but there will be a lot of people asking about him.
Yep.
Yiner might get, if they decide to go in full sell mode, there would be guys teams that would take Yiner.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Paredes, but I think Paredes works well in one place, and that's Boston.
Yeah.
If you're talking about Boston, you've got some of their minor leaguers, Justin Gonzalez, Franklin Arias, as some of their top prospects. Gonzalez is an outfielder, Arias is a shortstop, and if you're picking up Arias, that lets you start making some other moves. One guy from the Astros, I would not be surprised to be included in a deal, and I think some team would have interest with him as an extra outfielder is Jake.
Yeah, I don't disagree. He's back to hitting again in AAA.
Yeah, and if they can showcase him, um, he's got a chance. Now, the Astros are looking for an outfielder. I don't think the outfielder, but I was kind of working with some numbers, some things today. Is the Giants have a guy, Elliot Ramos.
Hmm.
You, he's decent hitter, not much of a fielder, but you could stash him in left field here, and you could give up a package that looks like Loperfido, Abreu, and Myers. Myers would work in San Francisco because that's a big outfield
Yeah,
over
that's a
there.
huge park. Yeah.
Big outfield. Loperfido's a good one. Abreu, he's got a half year to go, and so maybe you could get the Giants to take him, and then they're not committing a lot to him.
Hmm.
Um, out, but when you start looking at that, you're Abreu, Loperfido, and Myers out. You can see of the guys that we have here and people we have in the minor leagues who probably would be untouchable. We don't have a ton of guys.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I think that there's a very small list of your untouchables. I guess you're going to talk about a couple that I think we might disagree on. That's untouchable, but
Who would
um,
be untouchable to you? And to everybody, we didn't talk. We do chat a lot during the day, but we have not talked about any untouchables.
yeah, I think looking at it realistically, obviously, I mean, you've got the obvious. You've got Jordan is an untouchable. I think Pena is an
Yeah,
untouchable. I think Hunter Brown is an untouchable. I think some of your other guys like Emai. Nobody's gonna trade for Emai. So I'm not saying he's untouchable,
oh, he's
but
he's very touchable, but he'd probably they'd touch him like he has arsenic.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Just
But I mean, I think any of the, for me at least, I think any of the guys that you're going to get a smash deal for are probably inside of the organization considered an untouchable. And so that's where a lot of these question marks come from is what can Dana really do to move the needle on this team and make some moves that are going to actually make sense for both the future of this team and to make this team better for this year. And it's a complicated equation, really, because I
it
don't think you
sure
move
is.
I don't think you move Paredes unless somebody offers something absolutely
No,
absurd.
you
And
gotta.
in my
Yeah,
opinion, you've got to offer Paredes an extension. That's a guy
yeah, I
that you want
wouldn't.
to keep in Houston.
Yeah, and I think he's the kind of guy that his extension would be reasonable because he's a bit of a
Yeah.
one-trick pony as far as
I
how
mean,
he hits,
what do you give him? 4 years, 75, 80, and call it a
something
day?
like that.
Like
Yeah, I mean, I'd
that's
I'd give him
easy
enough to
money.
where he's set for life, but I wouldn't go give him any funny Jordan money. You talk
Yeah,
about
no.
untouchables, who's in, yeah, and we've said I've said this saying any number of times. Prospects are cool, parades are cooler. Well,
Mhm.
we're closer to prospects than we are to parades. So when you
Yeah.
look at who's untouchable down on the farm, Kevin Alvarez, Nyans just got promoted to high A. Ethan Fry probably, but if somebody came at us with a deal, he would listen. I don't think they'd touch Bryce Mayer.
Mm,
I think Pecco, they'd have to give a pretty big deal to get him out of there. Um, those guys. Uh, those are 4 or 5 guys that I'd say from the farm that no one's untouchable, but you'd have to blow the Astros away to get those guys to
yeah.
come up and and give him, like if you want something stupid like Juan Soto straight up, but I don't know if I'd want to deal with Juan Soto. But that's the kind of magnitude you'd have to do to get those guys to move. Here's one deal. And when you say they're untouchable, I'd say you're right. Pena's untouchable today. Brown is untouchable probably today. I think Pena is more untouchable than Brown is.
Yeah.
A lot depends on
outside of the rumors that Boris is stroking his ego big time right now, and the flip side rumor that Hunter really would prefer to get an extension and stay in Houston.
Yeah. There's a trade. We talked about that trade where Brown could go to the Cubs for Jefferson Rojas, Josiah Hartshorn, and Hartshorn. Ayers is about a 10th or 12th. I believe he's a catcher. If you could get, if the Astros go into the tank and Jed Hoyer, calls Dana and says, okay, you've got him for another month, 2 months, and maybe next year, here you have, and Brown might say, you got to give me someone off your major league roster who's worth it. Wouldn't it be something they brought Matt Shaw, so we got Matt Shaw and Cam? But that sort of player, I could see that sort of deal being done if the Astros go in the tank. If the Astros really go in the tank and they have a hard conversation with Pena, and he lets them know he's for sure going to try out, he's going to go free agency, and there's no interest in extension, you'd be crazy not to deal him, as much as it hurts, because the effect of Pena on the roster is immediate. He and Alvarez, the two guys that it's immediate.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think that you got the thing about making that call. I mean, they did it with Tucker, right? That was one of those things where people expected it, didn't want it to happen. It happened. There was a lot of boo-hooing and a lot of surprise about it, and a lot of people that just realize that it's the baseball way for the Houston Astros. Really, I think that when you look at
what would Taqueria Sarandas do without Pena?
They'd have somebody not crunching a damn chip on the freaking commercial. I don't know how many other people out there don't like hearing other people eat, and crunching that chip on that commercial gives me the EBGBs.
Pena does the cheesiest commercials. He's got the Steve Lee commercial.
He does.
It must be a good commercial because we remember it, the 713.
That's true. Yes.
And Taqueria Sarandas is like, Jeremy, you're a star. Up your game a little bit.
Yeah. It's like when Garrett Cole moved to New York, and that commercial that he did for the auto body shop or whatever it was. It was just so horrible. He's standing in front of the damn green screen, and it looks like a $10 commercial. Freaking Garrett Cole.
Hey, here's one I would say. Here's another one. If Diaz went, if somebody came in and they got Diaz, Tampa might have something. There's a 22-year-old catcher, Caden Bodine, Double-A, Anderson Brito back. And then they've got a Victor Valdez, just kind of a throw-in lottery ticket guy, 17 years old in a rookie league. That kind of situation that would work.
So what's your sell threshold as far as it's time? Like, the decision has to be made. Is that 8 games, 9 games, 10 games? Where's that threshold for you that says, hey, we're 4 days out from the deadline. We're making a decision that we're going to sell or we're going to buy based on where we sit today?
I think that comes down to how everybody else is doing right now.
Sure.
As well. because where you're looking at, you hear numbers talking about you've got 5 to 6 teams that are legitimate sell teams. Okay. Those
Hmm.
5 to 6 teams are legitimate sell teams are because they stink, and they stink because they have bad players.
Hmm.
So you're talking about of those 5 teams, there may be 10 guys that people are going to have interest in. A couple of guys a team, notionally, maybe 3 at one team, maybe one the other team. So there's going to be a lot of buyers chasing a few sellers.
Hmm.
If the Astros wanted to be really slick, they might just silently put the word out there. We would sell for the right number, and we've got chips. And if they can be sharp and pick up, if the market's out there, I mean, we're just talking hypotheticals here. If the market's out there, they could really get a haul on some people because of the players that are out there. I mean, that'll be moved. Like Cincinnati, they're not going to move Hunter Green. They're not going to move Ellie
Hmm.
De La Cruz. Maybe they should, but
Yeah.
but outside of De La Cruz and Green, they don't have anybody.
Hmm.
You know, Rockies have Hunter Goodman. Are they going to move Hunter Goodman? They get a price.
McCarthy.
But
Yeah.
the Giants, who the Giants have, they may be Young Ho Lee, but if you're gonna take Jung Ho Lee, they're gonna have to eat half or more of that contract.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that's a big contract that they're still chewing on. So
Yep.
the Astros have probably the best combination of guys who are good and affordable and could make and would make a big impact if they decided to sell. Now, if they
Yeah.
run off 6, 7, 8 in a row, it's a different story.
Yep. Yeah. I think I'm kind of with you. I mean, when you look at the National League, you've got, yeah, the Mets, the Reds, the Giants, and the Rockies, basically, who have a snowball's chance in hell
Oh, no,
of
no, no,
doing
they
of,
don't.
of
They don't
doing
have a
anything.
snowball's chance in hell. It's
It's
they're
it's
awful.
bad. Yeah, it's bad. And then in the American League, you've got the Angels. We can go ahead and say the Athletics. They're 9 games out of the wild card, so I would call that probably not realistic for them to come
God,
back and
they've
do
been a
anything decent.
disappointment.
The Royals, and you can
I'm gonna
push
say
the
the Blue
Blue
Jays.
Jays. You can push the Blue Jays there. I think they're 5.5 games out of the wild card. Um, so I think that's where I think that's where you start. Somebody might throw the Tigers in there. There's 7 games out in there in the division,
Yeah, but
5 games out of the wild card.
Tigers
But
Tigers have a plus 31 run differential, and since the 1st of June, they've got I think the best record in baseball, if not one of the best
but they
records.
they still
The
can't make up any ground in the Central, though. I mean, they're still
I
hanging
know.
in that 7 games
Look at the White
behind.
Sox.
They,
Look at the White Sox.
yeah, dude, the freaking White Sox, bro.
The flipping
What
White
is
Sox.
happening?
Hey, again,
This
one
is
of the
when you
things we've
know the
talked.
Matrix is messing with you. Is when the White
Yeah,
Sox come out of absolutely nowhere and lead their division,
yeah, no
and have a
doubt.
52 run positive game differential. Now, here's the thing about
Okay,
the White Sox is their their
their schedule is going to
difficulty
be
of
tough.
schedule is tough, and they are 20-26 against 500 and over teams.
Well, but the
So
difference
they've
the
got a
difference between
run.
yeah, the difference between the best and the worst schedules like 490 baseball and
Yeah.
5.5
Yeah.
520 baseball. It's not
Yeah.
yeah, you got easy. It's not like the NFL.
Right.
The so you still got to play teams. Here's where you and I've talked about this. It really is a good time to bring this up. Making up a game a week
Hmm.
is is what your realistic goal has to be. The Astros are 4.5 out. They
Hmm.
are 6 out in the loss column for the wild card. Okay,
Yep. 3 games back in the division.
right. 3 games back in the division, 4.5 out in the wild card. So let's call that a push. You know, They've got to,
with both the Rangers and the Mariners sitting at 500.
right. They've got to make up 3 games on one of those measures by the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you and you nailed it starting off, and we've talked about it. They're in purgatory.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what to do. They don't have enough. They lack the trade capital to truly buy. Yeah, the only thing that would be good if they bought like a Elio Ramos. They got a lot of guys that are fringy guys that are just they're never going to be big stars, and they're taking up space for the guys like that you think that might be like the Kevin Alvarez's and the Xavier Nyans and that kind of crew, Ethan Fry, that kind of crew that's coming up. You've got to clear those guys out so the guys who are coming from lower minor league divisions can move
Have
up.
somewhere to go.
Yep. The only thing that I would say that you'd want to buy and maybe be a little generous in who you got rid of.
Yeah. 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 I think, for me, I think the threshold, you've got 2 more games against the Marlins. You've got 3 against the White Sox, 3 against the Angels. And then you've got 3 against the Rangers before the deadline. You've got to win 2 of those 3 series.
Well, winning 2 of those 3 series only makes up a game.
That's a week. That's 2 weeks. So yeah,
you're only one game over 500 if you do
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You got to win tonight against the Marlins. Yeah.
I mean, if you go 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 1-2, you only made up a game to 500.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to go
9, 10, 11, 12. So you've got to go 9. You got to go 9 of 12 to make up 2 games. You could potentially make up more than 2 games because 3 of those games are against the Rangers.
Well, okay. So the Astros won 5 games in a row to start the season. They got the last 2 against the Angels and the 3 in Boston. They just beat the daylights out of the Red Sox. There's only been one other time they've won as many as 4 games. One other time they've won 3 games. They've shown no proclivity to where they're going to run off. They don't have the pitching right now to run off, 6, 7, 8 games in a row, and that's what they need right now. They need to run on a. They're not going to do what the Red Sox are doing. I think the Red Sox have won 13 in a row now.
No, is it really?
Yeah, they're going nuts. They won 14 in a row. But they got to win, they got to win 9 out. They got to win, they got to win 12 out of 14 to give themselves a legitimate shot. Hey, if they win 12 out of 14, the way the rest of the division is, they could be up by 4.
They could. Yep.
But that's where they are.
Yep. Blanco's return reduced the urgency for starting pitching being top of the list. I mean, he's got what? He might get another 2 starts before the deadline.
Yeah, something like that.
So does that change your urgency for going out and finding another starter?
Nah. You've got guy Imai. Imai will throw 7 innings and 1 run ball, and he'll throw one inning and give up 7 runs.
Yep.
Lambert has been your only dependable starter, and the question you'd have is, and maybe we can do that for the next show, is which starter is out there. I took a look. I didn't really, buddy. That's going to truly make a difference.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, are you going to get? So. Yeah, Sonny Gray was going to be one that was kind of the Tony pick, but they won 14 in a row.
Yeah, you're not getting Sonny Gray.
they're not dealing now. They're not selling now.
No, not at all.
All the teams you thought 3 weeks ago were going to sell you, they're not going to sell now.
Yep.
Until next time, it's same bat time, same bat channel.
That's right. That's right. The clock is ticking. Houston Astros. Tonight was a response, but you got all of next week to go before we really get a good look at what we think this team might do and could be capable of doing. But we'll live to fight another day here.
Yeah, they
Houston
won tonight.
Astros
That's
fans,
the one thing
so.
you know.
They did, and it was not a bad win. Welcome back, Ronel Blanco. Let's see what we got tomorrow night. Wally, thanks, my man. Appreciate you as always.
Good stuff,
guys. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Dirt Diamond Sports Talk. Give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Jump on over to YouTube and find us live and in living color over there. Until next time, let's go Stros.